Hello, welcome back to War Tomb Pods. Back again in the office with Tom. How are you doing, Tom?
Just all right.
Quick point. We're filming this at night and we have to do a clap so we sync up our sounds, and I'm terrified I just woke up the child by clapping. I completely forgot about that.
I did think that actually when you just did it. Oh, that was loud.
Tell now that you hear the thunder. But yeah, huge deep breath. And we did it. We beat Everton. We beat Everton, didn't we?
Wouldn't die. Might as well have.
We're in the Champions League. We must have beat Everton.
Yeah, something like that.
So we've got a lot to get to because, quite frankly, Newcastle did the most Newcastle United thing possible. We're all excited about the transfer window, last game of the season, getting the Champions League, the day after our director of football resigns, the person in charge of transfers. But so we have an awful lot to get to this episode. I'm excited for that. First off, how are you doing, Tom?
I'm good. Exciting week. Just on a come down. It's like just when the season's finished and you think, oh, massive come down from Everton. We've done it. Big sigh of relief. Now everything, Howe's talking transfers, bigging it up to do everything quick, and you think, this is it. This is going to be like, everything's in place here. And then, like you say, next year, wouldn't be Newcastle without a big story, would it?
I couldn't even. I don't know. First off, the match. All right. So, as I mentioned in the last one, we had a bastard of a week.
Yeah.
Ben in hospital, mother in hospital. We had God knows what else going on. And what I'd done for my own sanity is like, it's okay, because at the end of the week, Newcastle's going to smash Everton. We're going to get in the Champions League.
Exactly.
And I sat there for 90 minutes. And at the end, I was honestly like, did you see Howe's face at the end? We'll get to that.
Aye, yeah.
But Howe did not look like he could celebrate what you see.
No, I didn't like. You could tell it was just like eating out, wasn't it? He was just like gritted teeth. He just couldn't like force him. Trippier was the same. Him and Trippier were like at one point stood together, just like grimacing, but like clapping. They obviously like wanted to be happy, but just couldn't get over the result there in the performance.
But I also think Trippier knows Howe the best, and he's just like, I'm not going to dance. Well, that's when he says it's okay to dance.
Yeah.
Besides, what have been said about me in the papers is bad optics if I do dance. But yeah, so first up, we had the team news. Isak was back after all that.
Yep, good. I was pleased with that.
He's definitely injured.
No, he's 100% injured. Like, I mean, I know I was saying before, like, as long as he plays, if he's 75% fit or whatever, he's got to play. And he does, but he's definitely injured. Like, there's something not right, is there?
He's been injured since the cup final. Maybe it's even before.
Yeah, definitely. It just shows that we need another forward, like, because the reliance on Isak is ridiculous, isn't it? But, yeah, you could say he wasn't fit, but to be fair, I was pleased he started, though, even when he wasn't fit. You could say he wasn't fit, but I was still rather him start.
Yeah, I mean, it gets all the good players in, but the five at the back didn't help.
I was surprised at that, like, I didn't think we would go five at the back. I really thought he would have changed it up. It just didn't work, did it? We were just completely overran in midfield.
Yeah, that was it, isn't it? We couldn't press because they had the overload.
Nah, I hadn't seen anything like. I mean, to be fair, I think Everton played pretty well and they obviously set up well. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Howe hit the nail on the head after the game when he said it was almost like we were trying too hard, like forcing it. Really, it just wasn't working. And the more it went on, the more it looked like they were panicking, and you could see them trying and say the more you try, the worse it gets, isn't it? So it was definitely the case. Like,
completely agree with that. I was literally about to make the same point from Howe's comments. I think they just tried too hard. There was a moment that Murphy gave the ball away and Shaw had to pick up a yellow.
Yeah. He had a right go at him, didn't he?
Oh, he bollocked Murphy.
Yeah.
And our lass even said like he's lost all confidence from that moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that, well, it wasn't directly Murphy's fault for the goal, was it? But he like could have done better for it. And then it was probably because of that. Because it's just like one thing after another, isn't it? Just like confidence-wise, I mean.
Yeah. Well, the goal came a fair bit later.
Yeah.
And it was goal, Dan Burn slipping.
Yeah.
I was gutted for him because if that was the thing that caught it.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a few, to be fair, none of them really stood out to have a really good game. I think Tonali did well again.
Tino
played well, but I mean, I don't know what it was. It was just, it was a funny one, wasn't it? It was not, I haven't seen us play like that for a long, long time.
I couldn't have told you the names of their centre-backs. We bothered them that little.
Yeah. I mean, their back four was made up of like 40-year-olds. I think we just didn't seem to. I think Barnes was trying. He had a few chances, didn't he? But again, it seemed forced and like it just wasn't happening. Was it? Just didn't land for him. It didn't quite go how he wanted to do. And again, if you try to force something and overly trying to make it happen, then it just doesn't work, does it?
Well, like I said, Everton were playing with nothing to lose, and with that, they could just sit in deep, and not be, particularly rattled by anything we did. The crowd's not going to bother them. They're finishing 13th, no matter what. And there was Gordon was struggling. He had that dive that got a free kick. But one thing I noticed with Gordon is he was trying so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he was pressing, Ashley Young whipped him 4 times.
Yeah,
just sent him the complete wrong way.
Yeah,
a bunch of times and played out quite easily. But I was surprised it was him that got the hook at half time.
Yeah, I was actually. I was surprised as well. Bit of an odd one, really. I don't know if he was carrying an injury at all or didn't feel right, or whether it was just purely tactics, because I thought Murphy would have been took off.
I can see why you want Barnes on, because he's got that. He's clinical when he wants to be.
Yeah.
He was not clinical. He slipped on a few chances.
Yeah,
but they were snatched at in half chances.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that match was painful to watch. I think that's the most anxious I've been watching football in years.
I was, when they scored, my heart just sank. I was like, I can't believe this. And then when Villa were hanging on,
I went numb.
And I was just like, I can't believe this, because I just didn't have confidence in Man U. I mean, to be fair, I had looked at the score for Aston Villa, and to be fair, the Twitter feed was just saying that it was all Man U. They had loads of chances and stuff, but they just couldn't score. And I was like, well, that's just Man U all over, isn't it? They just can't score. And I was convinced Villa were going to get a draw or even snatch a late win or something.
How were you getting your Villa information during the match? What was your setup for that?
I was trying to stay away from it, to be fair. I just kept going onto Sky Sports on the app and just checking what the score was. But I was curious when Martinez got sent off to see how they were doing, because I was like, hopefully they just get peppered. But I was thinking, this is Man U, they won't pepper them. They're not good enough. So it was horrible. I didn't have any fingernails left by the end of it.
So by the 45th minute, and I know our performance has dropped in the second half for every match. Just exhaustion from the season, or lack of. So I'm from that point, I had my phone on the commentary on Sky Sports. So you get the updates.
Yeah.
This is coming through, and then, mate, just looking down. And then Villa got that goal, and I was like, no, fuck, no. And then VAR, and they were saying it's a goal, but then he'd blown the whistle.
Yeah.
What a moment. In the difference that makes, that moment.
I know. Trying to it's huge that isn't it? For Villa and Newcastle, because that would just completely flip reverse what had happened. It's there was a massive fallout about it, wasn't there? But
we'll get to Villa, because my timeline's full of Villa right now. I
think I texted you, didn't I? I think I said after Villa after we were 1-0 behind, then Villa had scored, and I was just like, fuck that. This is it. We're fucked now. But yeah, I think luck was on our side, to be fair, on Sunday.
All right, so first off, the Emi Martinez moment is one of the most glorious moments in football. That sending off was bonkers. The idea that he could have stayed on his line with Højlund and me.
Exactly. Right. If it was, I was going to pick it in, but if it was anybody else who was running through, then I would have understood it, but not him. He could have, he could have stood back and waited for him and still put him off.
Hilarious foul. Absolutely hilarious.
Some of the Villa fans were saying, I think I had Sky Sports the Soccer Saturday on as well, and one of the, I can't remember who it was now, someone was on commentating and they were saying shouldn't have been a sending off because he was going away from goal, and it was no, it's not really how it works. Just completely wiped him out. You couldn't argue with that. It was definitely a send off.
And then then you got the disallowed goal that the ref blew up for.
Aye.
What's your thought? What's your take on that one?
Well, by the rules, isn't it? And it's not disallowed. But when I saw it, I was thinking, God, if that was Newcastle, I would have been furious. What about you?
Yeah, it's Man U, isn't it? You know what happens when you play Man U. But I've seen footage where I think VAR might have ruled it out anyway. because he does stand on the keeper's hand. I mean, the keeper fools who doesn't fall to the floor clutching his hand, which is what he should have done.
I was thinking, what was the keeper doing? Why did he just flop on the ball? Like, why did he kind of like wait for the ball to come into his hands and then like
pass it
almost
between
like,
them?
yeah, like not just put his hands on it? I was like, what's he doing? It was just weird. But I mean, see, if it was Newcastle, I would probably be furious. But
the funny thing is, with that goalkeeper, I now think he might have a fake hand. Because if you see the way that it's stamped on, like it is stepped on with football boots from like a professional athlete, and it just squishes like it's a balloon. And the player runs on, and he's just looking back, going, "No, I've conceded again." I think that's how he concedes. I think they've got a one-handed goalkeeper.
He is terrible at keeping. That's him who came in against us when Onana got dropped, and then he was equally as shite.
The one who passed it to Joe Linton's forehead for the third. And then they immediately go and score a first.
That little Mackham.
Diallo. Hilarious. They almost, every time there's a player that a manager forgot and they should have just played.
Yeah.
Because they got him before they got Sancho.
Yeah.
And they've been whapping him out on loan for like 5 years. They had the same thing with Alanga. Where every time a new manager comes into Man U, they like pluck someone from out there. Garnacho was the last one for Ten Hag. And then they let someone else go who becomes mint.
That was the relief. It was literally like the last few
wasn't
seconds.
enough for me to be calm.
No, because I was thinking like all they need to do is sneak a goal here, and then when that again, so it was just, God, it was like just so nerve-wracking on it. It was horrible. It was like,
and
felt
we had
sick.
the Shaw miss at the end. And
yeah, I almost forgot about that actually. Yeah, I thought he was going to score that.
I do like that he charges forward and just plays up front if we're losing. I like Fabs for that.
Yeah.
But then Man U get the penalty.
Aye, once I saw that, I was like, well, that's it. Done and dusted.
But then they went, and Bruno Fernandes isn't taking it. He's letting Ericsson take it for a sign of goodwill for his last game. I'm like, are you fucking...
Yeah. Don't do that.
And his penalty was minging. It was straight down the middle. Like, the keeper could have just stood there and scooped it.
Exactly, aye. But no, I think football and gods were looking down on something there. Like, cause we're fortunate because before that weekend, I thought Man U aren't beating Villa.
No one saw that.
Like, nobody saw that. And I think, obviously, the Europa League final, in terms of like the weekend, Spurs didn't have any effect on what we were doing, but Man U did. So it was like, would it be better if Man U won it or didn't win it? I think the way Man U were playing, it didn't really matter, did it? But
I think Villa may have had the same issue we did in terms of just how much is riding on this one game.
Yeah.
And you're expected to win.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the prize money from winning the Carabao Cup to win the Champions League is bonkers, the difference in it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Like, our club would rather be in the Champions League every year than win a League Cup every year.
Well,
Bar none.
That's the big debate, isn't it? When like the bigger teams and stuff are saying like, would you rather be in the Champions League or would you rather win a cup? But obviously all the fans say I'd rather win the cup, but really the clubs are probably saying I'd rather be in the Champions League.
Get in the Champions League or you're fired.
Exactly, because they're not bothered about that. They just want to see the money coming in.
And now, with the rules, you need it to come in, otherwise you've got to sell the players to struggle to get in the fucking Champions League.
Yeah, exactly. It's mental. It's no, I've never been so relieved when that final whistle went and then Villa were 2-0 down. I was like, geez, unbelievable.
Did you see the moment when Harvey Barnes went next? Because Fabian Shaw lay on the floor, looked like he was almost crying.
Yeah.
Dan Burn and Tonali stood together.
Yeah.
And then it's Harvey Barnes goes over and explains that Villa's actually done it.
Aye, I know. I was watching it because the cameras like panned on them and that to see what was going on, and you could see a few of them just like shocked. And I think Shaw flopped to the floor, didn't he? Thinking like, we fucked it. So Barnes run over and he's like, no, Villa's actually getting beat. I was expecting one to be like, fuck off.
If Murphy was doing that, shut Murphy. Like,
exactly.
It's time for jokes.
Yeah, it's not time for cracking jokes now, man.
I was thinking, if you're Murphy or Shaw, in particular those two players, it must be difficult to really like go out there blood and thunder to give it your all when you know fine well everyone's screaming for your replacement if you win this match.
I know what you mean, but like, would you also not be? You'd like to think the character would be like, well, now we've getting here because I've been a part of it. I want to show them. You know what I mean? It's like we were saying about like, well, Murphy's a prime example, isn't it? we want a right winger. Everyone knows we want one, and we're hopefully going to sign one. But if Murphy plays out his skin like he has this year,
it's not a big issue that the new winger doesn't play.
Yeah, but then equally,
it is to me. I got to be honest, it is to me.
Equally, what we expect is that Murphy will fall off the cliff, and then we'll have we'll have a new world class right winger. But if that doesn't happen, then
yeah, Miggy Almiron really fucked him on that one. You know what happens, Jacob?
So yeah, in the end, all is well. Thank God.
Oh, I was traumatized. I couldn't enjoy. I was like, we're in the Champions League, aren't we? Like, there's a great picture of when the Champions League music starts playing and Pickford is seen looking at the fans celebrating after, because he knows he's the villain. Do you know, the panto villain at St. James's, and he fucking loves it. And all the fans are celebrating it. I just loved it. It meant nothing that he kept a clean sheet.
He made a few good saves, to be fair, didn't he? But nah, never been so relieved. I was pacing on the floor for ages afterwards. I just couldn't settle.
Nah, I mean,
I was like, couldn't sink in. I was furiously scrolling Twitter afterwards and that, and watching all the Champions League videos and that. And it's class. It took a while to sink in.
It still kind of hasn't, because it's all guns blazing for the summer that we've all been promised now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I even felt bad for the players actually at the end of that match, because you wanted to be the feel-good factor for them going around the pitch. Like, they've always had a good last St. James's Park outing.
Aye. Yeah. I think, to be honest, I haven't looked, but I think that's probably the first time we've lost at home in the last game of the season for a fair few years.
Was it Arsenal, Eddie's last game at home?
Might have been. We've had a few, haven't we? Like Arsenal, Spurs, I think once or twice. There's been quite a few. Remember the
Oh, you mean in general? Yeah.
Like, in general, yeah. I mean, like the last few years.
When we were relegated, I remember that.
It's like they're not, even when it hasn't been as great a season and stuff, we've like normally finished off with a win and then had like a lap of honour. This time was like we've had a brilliant season, then finish off with a loss. Bit weird, wasn't it? But
I mean, if we ended up in like the Europa Conference, and then the lads have got to bring the kids on the field for a kick around, where I was like, what the fuck?
I mean, God, I can't even like explain how glad I am we got Champions League. I mean, it would have been so devastating to have not gotten it in the end. Like, wouldn't it? It would have been really hard to see.
He's done an incredible job.
I honestly don't think he gets enough credit. Like, from obviously Newcastle fans.
I mean, we've given the keys to the city. I mean,
yeah,
the
Newcastle
larger.
He does, but yeah, like the larger media and stuff, and like I think he gets acknowledged for doing a good job. But I just don't. He's just incredible. Like, to get Champions League game, second time in 3, when we're literally nowhere near, like absolutely country miles from like being anywhere near Champions League. We were relegation fodder.
Yeah, and then even this season, we were tied on points with like Man U mid-December.
Yeah. That run this year from December onwards, like when you look at the form table, we're like second only to Liverpool. It's just incredible job. Like, can't even explain. And I don't think he gets enough credit for it.
Over the last 3 years, we're 4th.
Yeah.
And Villa 5th.
Yeah.
That's, again, remarkable job.
It is, because like you see, I think, again, outside of Newcastle, everyone just thinks, well, yeah, but you should be. Like, you got the Saudis and, and like, but the players we've got, I don't think are good enough to be in the Champions League on paper. Some of them are, but you would never have Jacob Murphy Champions League. You would never have, to be fair, Dan Burn, but again, it's because he's improved them. Do you know what I mean? He's improved all these players and getting the best out of them, and then added real quality with like Botman, Bruno, Tonali, Isak. You know what I mean? It's like, and then once you add them in, it's just incredible. I think, like, unbelievable job.
Well, this ties into what we're going to go into, but I think he builds it on loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
You know you're not going to lose your place immediately when a new signing comes in. You get enough of a chance.
Aye.
Sean Longstaff just look a happy chap when you see him coming on the 90th minute. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not cutting a happy figure right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he might go, mightn't he?
I just think he's not happy. I don't know if he goes.
Well, I mean, it depends if anyone comes in, doesn't it? There's been rumours of like Leeds and Everton. I think Leeds and Everton were after him, yeah. I don't think he particularly wants him to go. I still think he has a place for him. But yeah, I mean...
There was a bit of a switch-up when Tonali started playing to when Longstaff was playing.
I was going to say, yeah, a bit of a considerable difference, like, isn't it?
But you have that chance, and I think that forges a bigger bond with the team. Like, you're not going to be hung out to dry. Look at Callum Wilson walking around the pitch in tears. He's been a Eddie Howe for God knows how long. And then we find out next day he's been offered a new contract.
Yeah, a bit weird. Pays your player, there wasn't. I'm guessing he's not staying. I'm guessing we've offered him something, but he already knew about that, and then he's probably not going to take it.
I don't know. But if you look at what's happened, I mean, look, Paul Mitchell's just resigned because he's done, there's got to be a bunch of reasons, but the idea that we're not getting these wages off the book, which do really matter when it comes to the new squad cost ratio, that's huge to get those wages, like the Targets, the Wilsons that aren't playing.
Yeah.
So, all excitement, and then day one, new transfer window, the exciting big one we've all been looking forward to. The guy in charge of transfers resigns immediately.
Never, didn't see that coming, like, at all. I mean, that's crazy. I think I texted you the night before saying, like, Howe's going straight for, like, a meeting about transfers tonight. It's, like, all over the media. He was meeting the chairman in Mitchell, and they were going to talk transfers because Howe was obsessed with saying we need to get in early. We've, like, basically saying we've got money to spend this time, so we need to do transfers early. We've got a list of players. We want to be quick. And then, that happens. It's like, obviously, it's just, after it, obviously, Craig Hope's brought that article out about what's, like, gone on inside and stuff, but surely this must have been a reaction from this week. Or do you think it's been planned for weeks and weeks or months? I'm thinking, like, what happened in that meeting on Sunday night?
Yeah, I mean...
Because, I don't know.
I think we have to be quick. There's I've got two theories on it, and it's like, I know people that, like, work in, like, have a few jobs that work with people from other countries and stuff, and there's a stereotype of some of them. And one of the ones of the Saudis are, don't expect any responses quickly. Like, they're comfortable. They're not urgent on anything. They wait. They're very methodical. They want the fucking best.
Right.
They're not the free spending nutcases you imagine, a bit like Abramovich was.
Aye.
So I think getting the okays and the green lights for them might take long. Or it's a huge dig on Paul Mitchell in terms of not getting signings in that they wanted in the first window. So I think it's between those two, but Howe's stock could never been higher.
I think it was like Howe kind of probably flexing his muscle a bit, isn't it, really, like, at the end of the day, like, just saying, right, I've done my bit and more. Over to you, basically, because you never know what's going on inside, like, the club and stuff. It's, like, obviously impossible for us to ever know, but the rumours of them two not getting along must have been true.
Oh, yeah.
And then when Mitchell came in one of his first interviews is how the transfers system, policy, whatever, it wasn't fit for purpose. I mean, that must have went down like a lead balloon. And then you've got the players sitting there thinking, well, I don't know, like, that's not even right. I mean, you cannot name any signings that we've made that have been a fluke, really, have there? Like, there's ones we've signed and moved on, like a Wood, but nobody saw what he's done coming. And he did a job for us anyway when we had him. It wasn't like we didn't play him and then we sold him at a loss. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I can't rewrite my own opinion of him. I fucking hated him when he was here. I didn't dislike the person.
Yeah.
But he did not. I mean, he mustn't have fit the system. He just had no confidence. And you saw what he looked like with confidence.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He ballsed up in the last minute for Forest.
Yeah.
Forest Chelsea, wasn't it?
I saw that, yeah.
Inside the 6-yard box. I was like, that's the guy I remember at St. James's Park.
He's just a Geordie at heart, that's all.
But I remember checking a few. It wouldn't have affected us. It would have affected Chelsea, that one.
I think so, yeah.
Or Villa. But there's stuff coming out that's fascinating with it because, first off, Howe was given 24 hours notice before Mitchell came in. That's it. He wasn't said, we're getting Paul Mitchell. Like, it's Darren Eales' mate.
Yeah.
That he went, this guy's getting hired.
Uh-huh.
And with the way you see Howe in control of everything at the club, that must have sent him mental.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the text Jason Tyndall was getting the minute you heard that. You know what I mean?
You heard this? Like,
So he immediately comes in, he says those things, But there's reports of his personality just being off. He came in as he's the big I am, bull in a china shop.
Yeah.
There's now people seen on TalkSport that the way he went after Gahey and he was trying to get him at a rock bottom price really pissed Palace off.
Yeah.
That's why Palace messed us around towards the end, because they couldn't believe the arrogance of the way they're being spoken to and dictated to by Mitchell.
Yeah.
And they're even saying they probably wouldn't sell Gahey until Mitchell's out the door, June 30th.
Right.
Also, a little interesting tidbit. Do you know who he wanted as a a different alternative to Gahey? And Howe said no due to his character check background was Jean-Claire Todibo.
All right, yeah.
From West Ham.
West Ham, yeah.
And that's kind of been proved right. Apparently he's been a problem at West Ham.
Yeah, I heard that because we were linked with him, weren't we? His name was passed around a few times. Was it last year or the year before even? I think it was last year definitely, and then maybe even before that. But yeah, I don't think... Has he played loads? I think he's played a bit, but he hasn't exactly been very good for them, has he?
No, he hasn't.
But they reckon, his character more than anything is like bad, kind of not Austin.
Because we only see him from, me. On Chapman, he's one of the best defenders you can get. 20 for passing, everything you need in the right stats. And his statistics in France, he reads like an athletic Fabian Schär. Like his passing, completion, long range, and that kind of stuff. So the idea that, did he go to Juve or did they snap him from Juve? I think he was en route to Juve and then West Ham got him on loan. So West Ham have to buy him now after this bad year.
Yeah, I think they've got an obligation to buy him.
Because Man U bought him and then they said you couldn't do that inter-club because they bought him for 10 million less than he was worth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Howe's been proved right on that.
Yeah, I know.
I think Mitchell would have fired Howe if he didn't do well this year.
Well, that's the other thing that apparently is being said, isn't it? That it's weird that though, isn't it? Because I thought I don't know what Eales' opinion is on Howe. I'm guessing I always thought there was a good relationship there, but it's odd that Eales just brought in his mate basically at short notice because he'd worked with him before without really having an almost clear direction, because I don't think Howe wants someone like that, does he, by the looks of it at all?
No.
Stepping on toes.
No, he definitely doesn't want that.
So it's weird that Eales brought him in. But then it's fitting now that if Eales is leaving, that he leaves at the same time. It just leaves us a bit...
Yeah, just an absolute diminished opinion throughout the club.
Yeah.
There's a tweet that cracked me up, and I wish I could quote who it was, but it was when Paul Mitchell showing Eddie Howe stats on a 16-year-old as he's bringing on Matt Target for the 13th time this season. You think, do you know what? He might have a point there.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a kind of good track record, hasn't he?
He's one of the
good.
Bigger names.
Yeah, he's when he came in, everyone was quite oh, he's a big name. He's been all over, done a good job. But I think they need to have a think about who they want and what his actual job role is, because you can't knock Howe and must be Nixon and his nephew and whoever else is signing players at the minute.
I'm glad you brought that up, right? Because if they move Andy Howe into the sporting director, it's that's the position that fires you and finds your replacement.
Yeah.
It's just who do you want in that job? My nephew. I am in control of this place now, all right?
My own blood.
But I love that. That's the best managers are like that.
Yeah.
The absolute best managers are like that. The Murdad and Amanda said the same, they want him to be our Alex Ferguson.
Yeah.
And his handprints are on everything.
Yeah. But it's not a bad thing. I mean, I don't think it's been spoken about as negative, but Howe's often been spoken about as being a control freak. Well, I think that's only born from the drive and determination to be as successful as he can be. And like I say, Ferguson was like that, and he was pretty successful. And Howe at the minute, nobody can argue his track record. He can literally do what he wants. And if he, from what we've signed so far, if that system works, which it looks like it does, then it should just be left alone, really, shouldn't it?
Yeah, and no one knows what Howe needs more.
No.
I've seen a few opinions where it's just Paul Mitchell was incredible past tense because he was a bit of an innovator of the stat-driven process.
Uh-huh.
But now everyone has those stats.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit diminished compared to this guy who's coming in and going to revolutionise. I mean, they said the same about Ashworth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Although I think slightly different because Ashworth was never really supposed to be like talent spotter, scout person, though, was he? I think he's more of like a development, like systems within the club and stuff, isn't he? Like more of like a building the club up almost, rather than Mitchell. I think is supposed to be more of like a talent spotter, isn't he? But I don't know. There's probably a lot of things going on that we don't know about. Heard things like, say, reading Craig Hope's piece on about it, and you're seeing how he's just meant to be really arrogant and spoke to the players arrogantly, didn't know half of the names and stuff like that. And it's like, apparently he said that we overpaid for Hall and Livramento, which I do not get whatsoever, because if we sold them now, we'd literally get double, if not more.
Like I've never had Man City interested in one of our players and thought, well, let's see what we'll get for Tino Livramento then, because he's here for Christ knows how long on a contract.
Yeah. I mean, what do we pay for them to? 30 odd each? Hall was just below 30, wasn't it?
No, Hall was 28, but a £5 million loan.
Right.
That's the way they broke that up and amortised.
And then Livramento was around something similar, wasn't it?
30 to 35, I think.
So if you sold, especially Livramento at the minute, he's going to be at least, 50, 60 million? He's got to be at least. And then, to be honest, Hall, even younger, England international, he's going to be double. See?
I mean, they're desperate to pit him and Lewis. I mean, I said they. I mean, people on Twitter are desperate to have a battle between him and Lewis Skelly, but there's not even a competition. Lewis Skelly's got some skills, but I think Hall has been phenomenal.
I think if Hall had stayed fit all season, he would have been in the team of the season type of thing. He's like for Premier League. He was playing unbelievably well. I think everyone's kind of forgotten about it because of the run-in and because he got injured before the final. And to be fair, Livramento's done really well in his absence, so that's boded well as well. But like, because he's not played in so long, I think everyone else has probably forgot how good he was before that.
I think he's a big part for Gordon. I think that was the partnership Gordon thrived on.
Yeah, I mean, they did play really well together, didn't they? I think it's nice having that natural balance on the left-hand side with Hall, and then you can have him overlapping Gordon coming in, and it worked really well.
I hope Gordon starts well, because I don't think he enjoys it when he's, I think he responds better with the love. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the problem is with like Barnes and Gordon is they're both really form players, aren't they? They seem to both play a few games, they're in form, but they struggle to come on and make an impact. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So it's a difficult one.
There's also, with Mitchell, they were saying he was planning on taking a break from football before he took our job.
All right.
And it was kind of his link with Eels is why he took it. And it's probably why it was such a quick deal to get him in. And with Darren Eales leaving and Eddie Howe had already basically asserted himself going, I'm doing the transfers.
Yeah.
Like, you can bring me a player if you like. I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
You'll sit Vlachodimos in the transfer thing and point at him.
This one? Nope. Try again.
But yeah, just... And I hope the fuck... I mean, from hearing that he was a dick during the... I mean, that's harsh. From hearing that he went back, was poor negotiating for Mark Gahey, I feel better that he's gone, because one of the issues is who's negotiating for these deals.
Yeah.
But I like Nixon. I think Nixon's class, and anyone in Eddie Howe's team, they know exactly what's expected of them. It's unifying everything.
It's at the end of the day, Eddie Howe is just, we've got to trust him. Like, he's built up that kind of
stock.
Yeah, he's built up so much stock now, isn't he? Like, he can do what he wants. So it'll be interesting to see what happens though, because I think I read somewhere they were on about that when Eales goes, there's like an announcement imminent for who's going to take over. So it'll be interesting to see who takes over and then how the structure is with them coming in. But Howe can walk on water, so he can do what the fuck he wants.
Better be someone that like just don't rock the. You don't need to touch the system with it for me. You can't say it's not fit for. Obviously, it sucked that if we had Minter and Anderson, I think we would have finished second easily.
Yeah, I think having that extra
depth, because when we lost Joe Linton, because he was a big miss, and
he's like a direct replacement there, isn't he, Elliot? Like Elliot Anderson. So,
and I didn't think we'd miss him as much as we'd miss Minter, but it turned out like
same. I was more bothered about Minter going, even though I really like Anderson. I think he had a good season last year, but this was his standout season playing week in, week out, wasn't it?
Good, we lost him.
He'll be back, I reckon.
Well, that's now Eddie's in charge of transfers. That's who I reckon he's got him for. He's gonna...
Right, so let's get into all the exciting stuff, eh?
Yeah, we've earned this. We've fucking earned this, Tom. We've earned this summer. This is the part of the football I really goddamn love. And for some reason, within a week, it's became hell for me. It's became absolute hell.
I'm starting to panic already. How Cindy wants everything done early. I'm like, come on, hurry up.
There's early and there's before the window even opens.
Yeah, exactly. Aye.
Seeing, I don't like, I get obsessed with patterns of language used, and I don't like for it as like just a button to be pushed.
Yeah.
Just need to get someone over the line. Powder dry, headroom. These are not buzzwords. Might as well say fucking sports science to me from Sam Allardyce days. All right, just give us something. And Newcastle lets nothing slip.
I know.
Particularly now they've fired everyone who could possibly know.
It's just literally Eddie Howe. Him and Jason Tyndall exchanging texts.
So the first one that came out was I almost said Juan Ramos, but it's Juan Garcia, Espanyol goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've been watching every game he's played this season, Tom, because we're about to talk to him. I know.
Oh, yeah. I know him inside out.
I mean, I don't go over these 3 days without checking out Espanyol's cross-to-punch ratio from their goalkeepers. But apparently he's mint.
I mean, I've seen some YouTube videos. He looks good.
He looks good. He looks good. Do you know what? When they say, it's between Newcastle United and Barcelona, I just think there's not a fucking chance a Spanish player obstacle to Newcastle United.
I know. Well, to me, the funny one is I think Howe really wants Trafford. So the only thing is, unless we've been told like a silly asking price now compared to last season or something, I don't know. It just seems a bit odd to go for someone else because he looked really keen on Trafford, didn't he?
It seems silly to go for someone else and immediately start shouting about it,
Yeah.
which we haven't. The shouting about it is purely in Spain.
Yeah. Well, some of the sources in Spain are saying that he's, not wanting to come to Newcastle. I'll rephrase it. Not going to Barcelona. But I see he looks good, like. But I like Trafford, like. I wouldn't mind us getting him, like.
I saw a picture of Trafford and he's got that freak neck that Joe Hart's got. And I'm like, he's going to be a good... I want Trafford.
Yeah, I just like the fact, I think he just suits us. Like, he obviously English, like there's no language barrier there. He's kind of like served an apprenticeship, if you like, where he's like come from the lower league and then done it with Burnley and done it really fucking well at Burnley as well last season. Clean sheet record. And I think he could be our number one for years. Like we've already said before, he could be. But he's like one who can just jump straight in, I think, whereas that Garcia, I mean, I might be wrong, he might just be able to do the same thing, but I like the idea of Trafford.
There's a strange domino effect that concerns me. So, Emi Martinez in tears saying goodbye to the Aston Villa fans before he got sent off against Man U.
Aye.
Then you've got Andre Onana. You want to hope with them 6 sporting directors Man United's got, someone's looking to move him on.
Aye.
And Bayer Leverkusen have just hired Eric Ten Hag. And Liverpool are about to give Eric Ten Hag about £200 million to spend.
Yeah.
So the knock-on effect of that is concerning to get Trafford. Now, if we're going to have a discussion on the goalkeeping targets, so there's this Garcia. Now, obviously, like what you've said, there's the Spanish press is saying he's not going to Barcelona. I mean, are you... I'm not an expert in this, but isn't there a weird thing where is Espanyol the club that only plays Catalan players, like from the Basque?
That's Bilbao, isn't it?
Is that Bilbao?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just checking because I know they've got the whole thing of that, but Espanyol is a rival of Barca. Is that why it's an issue?
Yeah, so I'm guessing that's why it's an issue, but I don't know how big a rivals they are, obviously, because I think Espanyol's been in the second division most of the time, haven't they? For the last, have they just been promoted again or something? Or
I think they've just escaped relegation or just been relegated, hence the minimum fee release clause.
Yeah.
So what he is a bargain.
Yeah. Sounds like it. That's why I don't know if we've been quoted a lot for Trafford now. I'm guessing he would have been cheaper last summer, and we didn't get that done for whatever reason. So
Well, we've
because
got the Greek number one.
I forgot about him. Yeah, obviously he must have been a close second choice if we didn't get Trafford. But after the season he's had, Burnley's been promoted. I'm guessing his price has gone up a bit, unless he's out of contract anytime soon, which may be our favour, but I'm guessing not.
He's only got to be 2 years into that because they signed him the Premier League year.
Mm-hmm.
So I doubt that.
Yeah, so I'd like Trafford, but I'm just wondering. I think it's going to be quiet on him, and there's a bit noise about that Espanyol keeper. But like you say, no Newcastle, there could be another keeper that we're after, and nobody knows about.
I'm going to bring this up multiple times, and I forgot that I do this. When the transfer window opens, I refresh Twitter every 5 minutes.
That long?
Maximum, yeah, absolute maximum. And the whiplash effect of he's in Gateshead looking for houses to here's a picture of him as a child in a Barcelona shirt. And you're like...
There's a plane spotted, isn't he? And,
So the list of goalkeeping targets that I've heard this week alone then goes to Kobel from Dortmund.
Yeah, I've seen him. I think he's been linked with someone else, isn't he? Like, is it Villa? I think Martinez is likely to leave Villa, isn't he?
He's been dropping off a bit. Like, I've seen a few moments where he should have said, like, when your reflexes go, they go.
Yeah.
And it's fine if you're a shot stopper, blah, blah, blah. But at the top level, when these goals, literally the difference between 100 million payout and...
Yeah. From being Argentina's number one, I don't think he's world class, Martinez.
No.
I know he won the World Cup, but I think there's better keepers, though.
He didn't half make a dick of himself after winning the Golden Globe, didn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he was mint when he first went to Villa. I rated him quite highly with that.
Yeah.
Then there's a name came up that I really do not like, and that is Liverpool's now third choice goalkeeper.
Who's that?
Kelleher or whatever.
Third choice, is he now?
Well, they bought the Georgian that we were told we were signing last year, Mams
I totally forgot about him, Oh yeah, totally forgot about this. They were signing him.
So he's loaned out, chilling, I think, back at Valencia.
Yeah. I know that Kelleher, I think he's decent, but I don't see him as being a number one for a team Champions League and potentially going higher.
No, I hope not, because first off, I will never learn how to say his first name.
No.
It's one of those Irish names where it might as well be Russian for where the letters are placed.
Yeah.
And secondly, I think he's the reason why A, we got a draw in December, and B, we won the League Cup.
Yeah. Nah, I wouldn't fancy him. I think we'll be going for someone better standard, if you know what I mean. Like someone who's going to come in straight away and be challenging number one. I don't think he does. I think he'd come in and be like a number two, wouldn't he? He's not as good as Pope.
Yeah, I mean, Pope as a shot stopper is incredible.
Yeah.
It's the difference on the offense that makes of what they want to play, especially if we're going to be a possession team.
Yeah.
Seen people talk about tactically, if we had a ball-playing goalkeeper, we wouldn't have to have Sandro Tonali drop back to our 6-yard box to start every attack. Speaking of that, do you remember his goal against Southampton? I saw it again the other day.
Yeah.
Fucking incredible. That's one of my favourite goals.
Absolutely class, man.
Fucking love Tonali. We need another... I just want another Tonali. Someone that makes that level of a difference.
Well, I know nobody knows exactly how much we're going to spend because they're never going to disclose it, and none of us are clever enough to work it out. But it'd be class if we've got some of these signings that we're linked with, but then a one out of the blue, like a Tonali, wouldn't it? Like a world-class, ready-made midfielder or whatever.
Well, we were trying to act quick. I mean, there's acting quick, like I say, and then there's only the very largest teams get to make their signings before the window opens.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's always Madrid, Man U in their heyday, even they've done that now. Chelsea, Liverpool.
Yeah.
Every other player will see what his options are. They're not like, the season's finished, jump on a fucking plane and get this shit sorted, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
But
that's what I don't get though, when House says when you get the business done early, which I get, but I don't know, you can never really foresee that though, surely. I think in an ideal world, everyone wants to do it early, but if someone, like the Gay situation last year, stuff like that, you can't, can you?
Well, colour that with what we just spoke about, Paul Mitchell, low ball and Palace to the point where they get pissed off and won't talk to you.
Yeah.
And I think Howe wants to go in the PSR deadline.
Yeah.
I think he wants to do to teams what teams done to us.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah. And I'm guessing that you would be sounding things out before now. Clubs must talk to each other before it gets to this point and say like, what about Gay or what about Trafford or what, and then get a bit of feedback to say what the kind of, you know what I mean, get a bit of a judgment of what they're thinking. Or
if you were to believe what 99% of people on Twitter say, we've already had conversations with all of them. And then like in 3rd of August is like, we've launched a bid. They've rejected that bid.
Exactly, aye.
Just a button that needs to be pushed.
So I don't know.
Because we did reach, it was weird because Fabrizio Romano was saying how we reached out to Delap's agents to see.
Yeah.
But they were, the other ones were talking to the player.
Right.
Like there was a difference in terms of how our interest was even registered compared to, was it Manu and Chelsea, the other two we were going for?
Trying to woo the player. Manu can't do that.
A bit like the Spanish goalkeeper, I see Delap as more good value for money as opposed to a game changer.
Yeah, I would have been happy with him, like for the money, and I think he is good. Maybe he fancied his chance to play a bit more at Chelsea.
Oh yeah,
because I mean, who have they got? Jackson. Is that it? Have they got any more?
Well, but with what Chelsea do, they're going to sign 3 more strikers. They're now front runners for Ekiteke.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Yeah, I hope he doesn't come over and smash loads of goals in.
Yeah, we're going to be stinging from that one a few times. Him and Isaac, just like that Spider-Man meme, just pointing at each other.
Yeah. I really want Mbeumo.
I would love Mbeumo.
I keep seeing him linked and I'm just like, I just want us to sign Mbeumo. He's so good.
All of us are just obsessed with getting him too much.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get like Keane Lewis Potter from Brentford instead. Do you know what I mean? Like, and how we've seen something in him that we haven't, like, and then there's going to be all the fucking articles of Newcastle launch bid for Brentford player accepted. But for which one? Nathan Collins.
There's got to be some truth in it, surely. I think he'd be such a good sign in him. Like, he'd be class for us in Mbeumo. I just love how he's like, just kind of like, no nonsense. Like, you know, there's no flair as such. It's just, he's very direct and just really like powerful. And
is that your first choice for a right wing?
I think it is, because he's ready-made. He's ready-made for that position. And he can play anywhere across the 3, really. More so right-hand side and through the middle. He's playing through the middle loads for Brentford this year, which is ideal, which is what we need, really, someone who can play different positions. He's got, how many? He's got about 20-odd goals this season.
28 goal and assists.
Yeah. He's had a brilliant season. He seems to be getting better and better. He's powerful, he's direct, he's pacey, he works hard, he grafts, tracks back. He's exactly what we need. And again, he doesn't seem to be like a, prima donna type. He just seems to get on. And
is that because he's bald? Is that what you're basing that on? Down to earth, you could have a beer with him. He looks like me. No, I think you give him hair, people think he's the next Mo Salah. I think he's excellent.
I think he's brilliant. I really do. He's one of them where he cuts inside and you think, well, just stop him, but you can't. You know what I mean? He scores that many goals doing that, and he's just so good at it. I'd love to sign him. Like,
he'd be up there for me. Yeah, definitely. Alanga, another one. I think we can get a brilliant player there.
Yeah, I like Alanga as well. I can't think of many others who have been linked with, to be fair, for right hand side. But
there's a Dortmund player who I think a lot of them play primarily on the left, but can play across both. Jeremy Gittins.
I've seen his name, yeah.
He's another one. I haven't seen enough of him to comment in the slightest.
No, me neither.
It's whenever you have an Englishman doing well abroad, you think they must be mint because people hate signing English players.
Yeah. I just think with Mbeumo, he's just literally ready-made. You just plonk him straight in the team and he does well. Like, there's no needing bet him in to get used to anything. And that's kind of what we need going into the season, especially for that sort of position where we're like really weak.
The one thing he's missing that Howard loves in a player is size.
True.
He's not a tall player. Isaac 6'3", Gordon 6'2".
Yeah, quite tall, yeah.
Like he gans for the big lads, which is what's going to bring me on to the next suggestion. João Pedro.
Aye. I'm surprised. Surely he's going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah, they're quoting 60.
And I'm surprised it's not a bit more because
he punched Van Hecker before the last game of the season and wasn't allowed to be played.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So his price tag's dropped.
Well, they may have told him that. Like, they'll tell him via satellite whether or not that he's allowed to leave.
Yeah, because we were linked with him, obviously, weren't we? Was it last summer? Oh yeah, one before.
I think we pulled out because Isaac came back on the team.
Yeah. Ah, that's right. Yeah.
And I was a bit underwhelmed to have him back on because I've not watched a lot of Brighton.
I think he's done well for Brighton.
And he scored a lot of penalties, but I went and watched him. I did basically just saw like a clip reel, and I got excited for him.
He is a good player. Like, he's done well for Brighton.
Bit of a psycho. I don't know if he passes the character test. If you saw him try to take someone's head off with an elbow and he missed.
Yeah.
You remember that one?
Yeah.
It was like one of the most blatant elbows I've ever seen. He's just got into a fight with his centre-back.
Yeah.
Unless they were fighting about his attitude when he played Newcastle was a bit not on.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen a few rumours about that one, but I can't see the Pedro one. Like, I won't.
Tell you one thing, he's quality in the air.
Yeah, he is good in the air. If you mix his size with Wemo, perfect player.
Speaking of quality in the air, someone that looks like we're not going to go for is that Benjamin Sesko.
No, he's been linked with Arsenal.
Arsenal today, yeah.
Yeah. They seem to have gone off the Isaac idea, which is good. Not that we're ever going to get him anywhere, like. But I've seen them linked with Sesko and
Gyökeres.
No, the one from Sporting.
No one's going for him.
I was quite surprised.
But again, the transfer window is not open yet.
I know. Maybe we sign him? Out of nowhere?
I don't know about him. I'm not convinced.
Isaac's mate, isn't he? Sweden?
Well, they're both from Sweden. I don't know if they're mates.
Well, it must be.
We've got Emil Kraft. You can talk to Emil Kraft as far as I'm fucking concerned. How Isaac stop being so bigoted and talk to people not from Sweden?
I don't like that the Calvert-Lewin rumour won't go away.
But
I'm not too keen. Apart from him being a cheap option.
Yeah, I mean, free transfer is great. But I'll say this, I don't think he's that... If he's willing to give Wilson a pay to play,
yeah,
and we've got Asula, I think a free transfer Calvert-Lewin, he's got to think, one of them has to be fit when he's actually, do you know what I mean? Because they've also got Gordon.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the thing. I just see Calvert-Lewin being another Wilson, really, but I suppose it may depend on the Wilson situation. If he doesn't sign a contract, goes elsewhere, maybe Calvert-Lewin is a cheap alternative that we can get in as another backup, as well as hopefully an Mbeumo or someone.
And I think this was more of an Ashworth philosophy. So if he was still here, I think we might do it. Could have went for a big name striker, have him for a year, and then if Isaac doesn't re-sign, that's him gone the following year. I mean, it's difficult. You can't have Rory Delap come because he's not willing to be second place from it. But that was a thing that could have happened.
Yeah.
It's weird he was that bad for the last couple of games, but you got to remember just how fucking mint he is. Do you know what I mean? Once you see them goal compilations, you're like, nah, he's one of a kind.
He's definitely one of a kind. Just needs to get fit.
So, João Pedro, in terms of excitement, where's he land in your list of... Does he play right wing to you? I've read that he can play an 8, left, right, centre, 10...
Plays all over, doesn't he? That's why he's another one who might fit what Howe wants. A bit like when we're linked with Cunha. Because he's like similar, isn't he? Plays anywhere in the front 3, midfield, number 8. I think he'd be a good sign if we got him, but I really want Mbeumo. Unless we get both. That'd be good.
I don't think we'll get him. I would love it if we just went crackers with it.
No, João Pedro was a good player. Like, I like him for Brighton. But
potentially we could afford both, but we really have to re-qualify for the Champions League, and that's not easy.
I think
because you got like Ben Jacobs coming out now. There's a lot of people annoyed at this quote saying like Man U's got a bigger pull than Newcastle because there's no guarantee we'll get back in the Champions League. It's like, but Man U's not in the Champions League, Ben.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's because you've got a global reach.
I think Man U will struggle to get... Well, I don't know, I'm saying that. It depends how much to spend, doesn't it? Man U could go out and spend a load of money. If they sell Fernandes for like 200 million or whatever stupid it's going to be, they could buy a few players.
They were one of the teams linked with Longstaff, but I think people just being mean.
I mean, who outgoing wise, I don't know. Longstaff could go.
It'll be late in the window if he does.
Yeah.
I don't see
All depends who we get in, doesn't it?
Leeds coming up and going, get me Sean Longstaff.
Nah.
I think we'll get a midfielder. We've been linked
Yeah.
with Jacob Ramsey,
Yeah.
which I've seen not enough of to be excited for a 50. I mean, there's a lot of Aston Villa fans angry on my Twitter timeline currently, so they've quoted, will we sell Ramsey for 50 to Newcastle and blah, blah, blah. But I've not seen enough of him to think he's a £50 million player. That's what we paid for Tonali.
Yeah. I think he's another one who plays in a few positions, isn't he?
He's like Joe Willock. Apparently he's going to be a match fit Joe Willock.
Yeah.
Is what I've seen him described as.
He plays plenty for them, doesn't he? So he must be doing decent.
Dropped off this year since Morgan Rogers.
Yeah. He's a good player like Morgan Rogers. I wouldn't mind pinching him from Villa if they're in PSR trouble.
That that Man City academy, God, did they have some players coming through.
No.
Frimpong, the Liverpool's just signed, came from there.
Yeah.
Well, Trippier came from there for a start. He was one.
Yeah.
That's how long City's been dominant for.
Yeah.
If anyone thinks someone else is winning the league but Man City next year, they're mental. Like, what the players they get?
That Delap came from there as well, didn't he?
Delap, yeah.
Chelsea just buy like Man City's academy players that go out elsewhere, do all right, and we'll have them now.
All right. Do you think Gahey comes?
Yes.
Have you seen the Bayern Munich links of him come out this week?
No.
Yeah, Bayern Munich are linked with him.
No. I think he loves the tune.
I'd be really upset at that. I'd be so upset at that.
He looks good. I like him. I think he's like, it's just character and everything. I think he's a good player. I think because he plays both sides. If you had to pick 3 players who you would love us to sign, who would it be? Mine's a really boring choice of Trafford, Gay, and Mbeumo.
The thing is, like,
I get too sensible. I know you like your champ man head where you just like want to go and buy a worldie, but like I like the idea that they're already made.
I think those 3 are worldies. Yeah.
I think because they're already made, and as well, what we keep saying is how's going to make them better.
Yeah,
which is like incredible to think. Really,
I would be over the moon with those 3.
Yeah,
there's a dude called Edison, plays for Atlanta,
and
he looks like a Joe Linton type. Like statistically very similar to Joe Linton. If you ever see like all the rumours, he's always linked with Man U for the DM position.
Yeah,
Chelsea are looking at him. He's been there a good few years now, and I just feel like we lose so much when Joe Linton's not on the field. I wouldn't say no to that, but that's not. But again, if Joe Linton's fit, I want him playing. He's a heart and soul of the team.
Yeah,
we never mentioned it, but Bruno, Jesus Webb, what a captain!
Did you see after the game last week when he walked up and down the pitch on his knees?
He did the Rafinha, didn't he? Rafinha was the only player I've seen do that before, but
he's just mid.
I've never seen a player's personality be better for this club.
Yeah, he just fits, doesn't he? I just want him to stay forever. He's just like, it's mad how like he just plays every game. You never hear any niggles. You never hear any like, he's just like a machine. He just plays every game.
He missed one through suspension.
Yeah,
and I think that was the Cup semi-final Arsenal away. Yeah, or maybe it's Arsenal at home.
It's like he just plays like just take it for granted. We never have to speak about Bruno being fit. It's not even just about injuries. He never really seems to get fatigued where he needs a rest. He just plays and plays and plays and plays and covers more miles than anybody else and still plays at a high standard.
I think he's incredible.
He is. He's incredible.
And to be that in that system with what Howe puts them through physically to be fit enough to play.
Yeah.
Because there was a quote just before the end of the season when they're saying about players coming off the bench and being like not match fit, and Howe goes, "That's not acceptable. We train to be match fit."
Yeah. I think, like I say, we take it for granted for Bruno. Like we see Tonali for the impact he's had this season. I think if you took Bruno out for a period, if he got injured, there would be a big drop off. I just love the way he plays. Like they're seeing the stat of how many fouls drawn. This is like double. It's like in the hundreds compared to everybody else. Just the way he maneuvers his body around the ball, and his technique's brilliant.
There was a back heel he did, and I think that led to Murphy losing the ball and that yellow card against Everton. But like he got himself in bother and then just back heeled it through 3 players, and it's just like, there's our fucking captain.
Yeah, he's incredible.
It was magic chewing gum that gives him more energy. All right, let's see. Who can I think of that's a little left of field?
Delve into your Champman data editor.
Listen, I'm tired of those accusations. Those accusations have plagued me since a child. I went beyond data. I get the scout genie. I want to know their potential. I want to know their personalities. Get model professionals. 20 for forget it. Okay. Well, a weird one came up saying that I think this is never going to happen, but Rodrigo from Real Madrid has been touted about the place.
Yeah. I don't see that one, like.
No, I do not see that one happening.
Sounds like he's been offered round to clubs.
And Newcastle's cash rich and got Saudi owners.
Basically.
There was a hilarious... Have you ever seen much of Endrick?
I haven't seen much of him, no.
So one of the things with Endrick is you knew he was going to be mint because on Champman he'd signed for Real Madrid 3 years before he could move there due to his age.
Right.
And so he's rated the next Mbappe for 3 years on Football Manager. And then when he goes over there, so he finally made it over there and he didn't play very much. And then Ancelotti has just got the Brazil job. And it says, why have you not called up Endrick? And he says, he doesn't even play for his club.
Class.
What about some left of field choices? So one of the wingers that Chelsea's going to obviously chuck out. They've got Nkunku. They've got
Madueke.
Madueke plays. I don't see him going.
No.
You've got Mudryk.
Yeah.
You've got Garnacho. You've got...
Sounds like they're going to sign Sancho, doesn't it?
Where they're discussing it because they have to pay $5 million to not sign him.
Yeah.
And they're discussing whether or not his wages are willing to drop down.
Right.
Let me tell you the answer to that. They won't be.
Absolutely not.
You can see Callum Wilson crying, pointing at his badge. You tell him he's on pay to play. He's bouncing to Burnley.
I don't really see us signing anyone from Chelsea.
Because again, you got to have faith in Howe. He wanted McTominay. We were going off it that you wanted McTominay.
Look at him now.
Italian MVP.
I know. They love him over there. See, doesn't talk sport today. Apparently his nickname's the bottle opener.
The bottle opener?
Yeah. Italians call him the bottle opener because he manages to create things and stuff.
The Gomorrah as initiation made him open a bottle of Beck's with his ass cheeks or something.
But yeah, now you're right. It's he improves players, so we've got to remember that. When we're linked with certain ones who we might not be too excited about, it's because he makes them even better.
And I do think he buys players so that his current players don't feel threatened.
Yeah.
Massively.
Yeah. But I think, he likes to do it though as well, doesn't he? He likes to develop players. He doesn't like to buy someone who's ready-made. And also, as he said in his press conference, that's not the model. We can't really afford to buy a world-class ready-made player. But he has confidence in him and his staff that they're going to make them better anyway. So,
because that's one of the reasons why I think the Spanish keeper is... Wait, I've got many reasons why I don't think that's going to happen, but the reports are going, he's been guaranteed first-team football at Newcastle. No one's guaranteed first-team football at Newcastle.
Nah, I don't
Not when we've got 17 goalkeepers, all right?
Yeah. John Ruddy, you never know. He's still waiting.
I think it's Glaspizia.
Definitely not the Greek lad anyway.
No, he doesn't play for us, he's just there.
Yeah.
I'd like a Xavi Simons. I want someone a bit exciting.
Yeah. I think it'd be interesting to see if or who gets bogged down by PSR, because there'll be probably a few clubs sitting, sweating a bit, but obviously don't want to let on and nobody will know. But then there's going to be a point where we were last year where it's like, okay, we need to sell some players. Who do you fancy?
Yeah, when that was you're sitting as a director of football, you're hoping to sell Jacob Ramsey, but there's a few other players people want. just
Morgan Rogers is kind of like, isn't he?
Yeah, Pep Guardiola's number just comes up for Monchi on his, his answering phone.
That's what I mean. If Villa are in bother like it's supposed to be, there could be some players from there. I don't know. I'm trying to think who else could be.
Forest have spent.
Forest, yeah, possibly Forest. Get Anderson back.
Anderson back immediately. Gibbs White is up there on a list for City, but looks like they're going for that Ryan Cherokee.
I like Gibbs White, but I don't know. I mean, to be fair, he does play on either side as well occasionally for Forest, doesn't he?
It's not his role, though.
No, he needs to be in the middle, I think. Bit like what they've done with Grealish, isn't it? Where he was good in the middle, pushed him out wide, and he's not quite as effective, I don't think.
That for me, Elanga's the speed and power there. I'd love Gibbs
Yeah.
White. I imagine we'll do great with him, but Elanga's lightning for them. He does everything.
I like Elanga. I think he'd be a good signing.
Who's another one? I would have liked Sesko, but I've been seeing today there's been a lot of like fans that, there's a few German fans came out and said like he can't do build-up play, by the way. Like he is static in the box.
Yeah.
Like
I haven't seen enough of him to have a judgment, really. I've seen a few good goals from him, but
a lot of those goals are a bit like, do you remember when obviously you remember playing the Championship and you're like, the ball never seems to go in the net there in the Premier League. It's like they're not in the corner.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like it's poor goalkeeping the reason why some of them go in. I mean, good shots, like strong shots, powerful shots, but a Premier League goalkeeper's body and hand is in the way of that, unless it's Onana.
Yeah. I think there'll be players who will go for in this little mini transfer window that in an ideal world you'll want to get in straight away. Hopefully it happens. Knowing how once I'd imagine it'll be to get them in, then have a full pre-season with the players, and then that's us done. But it never works out, does it?
No, with Newcastle, we'll be talking about power to dry and headroom for fucking weeks. It's just going to be us in the same room going, "Out take Trafford, out take Gay." Beep, beep. Gaze went to Manu. What the fucking motherfucker? What about, obviously, we won't have watched him play a lot. Malik Chow is the one from AC Milan, big old centre-back.
Yeah.
Speed, power, and AC Milan didn't make the Champions League this year.
You sacked the manager, haven't they?
Yeah.
Got a leg back. Yeah. I haven't seen loads of him, to be honest, only like Champions League games, and he does look good. International. I'm sure he'd be a good sign.
It's just meant to have faith in them. Do you know what I mean? Like the three players we both want are the ones we've been linked with.
Yeah. But like I say, it wouldn't surprise at all if we have completely different targets, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we've bought somebody else. Then again, it could be someone who we don't like the look of or like the sound of, but I trust them, and because they make players better, then that's weird.
There was a Twitter question of who's your hear me out signing, and the guy I like for transfer rumours and stuff, a guy called an account called Sean Casey, he put Conor Gallagher.
Yeah.
And I could see that being an Eddie Howe signing that boils all of our piss, and he turns out to be really good.
Oh, I think he'd be a good signing. Do you not think?
There's something about him. He was classic Palace and West Brom.
Yeah.
But the minute he went to Chelsea, he didn't look. I mean, if he survives at Atletico Madrid, fair play to him.
I was going to say, I think he's done well at Atletico, hasn't he? And I'd imagine him he would be a good kind of Joe Linton for
there's a one. Julian Alvarez. I would love a Julian Alvarez.
Yeah, he's been linked with someone actually, hasn't he? Was he not linked with
Liverpool, Arsenal?
Yeah, it was one of the teams in the Premier League, but I can't remember who it was, but I don't think it was Arsenal or Liverpool. Was it Chelsea? Could have been Chelsea, because I don't know how much he's been playing for them, but yeah, he's class. He was awesome for Man City.
Yeah, he just didn't want to sit on the bench, and once Haaland came in, what's he going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
But mainly, I saw a clip of Thierry Henry saying that's his favourite player at the minute.
Yeah?
That's enough for me. It would be arrogant if he said Isak, because like looking in a mirror. But
yeah, I was going to say after Isak.
Oscar Bob from Man City.
Has he been injured all season?
Yeah, he did his cruciates.
Thought so.
That's the time we strike Tom. That's when we get them.
Get him when he's down. They try and sneak him out the door when they've forgotten about him.
But I could see like a Nathan Collins from Brentford. We've been linked with him passively. Statistically, he ranks up really highly defensively.
How tall is he?
6. Yeah.
Well, it fits the bill. Over 6 foot.
Sorry, give us 2 non-centre backs you would take that isn't Mark Gahey.
Let's think. And from anywhere in the Premier League?
Oh,
anywhere.
Yeah.
Don't know.
I'm
trying to think of some right way. I do like that one from Bournemouth who have been linked with Zabani, whatever you call him.
Oh, fuck yeah, Zabani.
I do like him.
I wonder if the AI is going to edit that out or not.
I think he's my first choice, but I do like him.
I'd actually take him over Gay.
Yeah, I think he'd be quality. Centre halves, trying to think of like a right side, but then, yeah, that's Zabani's probably the main one. I'm trying to think of like who'd be kind of like who's potentially someone we could go for, if you know what I mean? Who might be available or might be...
Outside shout, and I'm not crazy about this, but from what again, rumour mill, I'm refreshing every 5 minutes. Chelsea are looking to get some new awesome centre-backs.
Mhm.
Trevor Chalobah as a player.
I know, I've seen a thing with him. I'm not sure. 50-50 on him, like. He's...
I think it's because I've seen him part of bad Chelsea teams.
Yeah. I know one of the Twitter accounts, I can't remember what it was, had like a piece on him saying that give him a chance, basically, like what you were saying before about Conor Gallagher, a bit of like a left field one. And he was saying how his stats are actually really good when he plays. So I think he's quite young still as well, isn't he? Not very old.
No, he's about 24, 25.
Yeah.
Decent age.
Yeah. Still got like prime years left in him. And again, I suppose someone like that, though, when he's got good stats and he's only going to get better under Howe, isn't he?
Next to Dan Burn. We need legs next to Dan Burn. And Shaw. I love Shaw. It's sad to be saying it.
Yeah. I don't think Shaw goes anywhere. I think he plays a lot next season still.
And he keeps on doing degrees and stuff, man, doesn't he? Like,
we just need someone. We basically need two teams, don't we? We need like Burn and Shaw centre half one week and then Botman and someone else another week, don't we?
What's it? I'm working graduations again. I work for a company that hands out the gowns.
Yeah.
And like last time, there was a guy who came in who had his own Saudi gown. So like, I'm just buzzing around him like. So are you linked with the? I mean, again, out of everyone that was there, so we handed out like 1,000 gowns in a day. There was only one person who had how much to buy my gown so I can hang it in my room as a point of pride, and then they were like £400. He's like, I'll go to a cash point. It's like, wow, what a brilliant people. But this time I'm going to be watching out for Shaw if he's done his online course for Newcastle. But he's going to be a director like Hugo Viana.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's done his courses to be like a sporting director or an agent or something.
For us.
Not if he's clever. They don't last long at Newcastle.
Well, what you? If you had to pick.
Oh, now you've sided Zabani, but my left field transfer shout was a 5-year loan for John Duran with an obligation to a free transfer. I thought he was class. I'd love to have him as the rotated striker.
To be fair, I thought he would look good. I was quite surprised when he left, but I suppose, I'm guessing it was PSR.
Generational wealth.
Yeah.
Like, they got offered 70 to 75 for him.
Yeah.
So Villa might not be in that much bother.
Yeah.
If they've sold him that. Everyone's saying Villa's knackered because not getting the Champions League, but they got a lot of money for him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know he can't actually live in Saudi Arabia, but he plays there?
No.
So he's not married to his girlfriend. Right. So they have to fly him in for training. Because you got to be married. If you're living with a woman, you got to be married to her in Saudi Arabia.
I mean, would you not just marry her quickly? It's like, you got plenty of money.
he's not gambling half of what he's got, especially not half of what he's making in Saudi on this. God, that's a pressure around the house. Do you think he's going to propose?
Nah, I'll just keep flying to training.
No, there goes a private jet. I'm fine. Imagine getting given press-ups for being late to training on that one. It's like, my flight was delayed. I remember Jack Colback was getting the train to Nottingham every day.
Huh?
Yeah, he didn't move down there. He was getting
just get on the train with everybody else and students and with these boots.
Grealish, I don't think Grealish is happening.
Nah.
Can't see that.
Nah, I don't want him.
He's not. If he was younger, I think Eddie Howe would have got him.
Yeah, maybe because, again, improve him.
There's a bunch of teams wanting Mason Greenwood, or fans saying they want Mason Greenwood. I wouldn't like that.
Nah, me neither.
I don't care how he does in fucking France. I wouldn't want him playing for Newcastle.
Nah, me neither. I forgot about him, actually.
Yeah,
where's he at now?
Marseille. He got the golden boot.
Did he?
Yeah, joined.
I thought he was in Spain.
No. I think he went on loan to Spain. Or did he?
Did he go to Malaga or something?
I think he might have started on loan there, and then they've sold him with a big fucking sell-on percentage to Marseille. I think it was 25 million, but 50% of the next sale goes to Man U.
I forgot about him, like. I mean, to be fair, he did look a good player, but I definitely wouldn't have him at Newcastle.
De Zerbi bought him.
Yeah.
I wonder what happened with him at Brighton. I think, like, since he wanted to buy his own players, and they're like, no, we're getting you 30 fullbacks. He just went mental or whatever.
He was like touted to be the next like Man City manager. That
they loved him. They absolutely loved him. But apparently, like behind the scenes, he's another Imagine if Di Canio did well as a manager. I remember Di Canio was a nutcase manager.
Yeah.
From all any Italian
Not
managers.
bad.
I've never met a calm Italian manager.
Ranieri.
Fair shout. Fair shout.
Tinker man.
Did you hear about what happened when he first got the Leicester job?
No.
So apparently Ranieri comes in and they have their intro to the team, your first team meeting.
Aye.
And he goes through his philosophy.
Yeah.
Basically, Jamie Vardy stands up and says, this is how we played towards the end of last season. We're going to play this way and let's see how it goes. And he was like, yeah, fine. and then they fucking won the league.
Fair enough. My job's easier.
I mean, best transfer window ever to get N'Golo Kante and Mahrez for like 5 million.
And unbelievable that.
Two of the best Premier League players of all time.
You'd struggle to top that again, wouldn't you?
Well,
that sort of price.
The guy who got them has been so highly touted. Steve Walsh, I think it was called. So
right.
Someone Walsh or Shakespeare. Anyway, he went to Everton and didn't do that.
Just live off them all the time. Telling people in the pub. But here I signed this time.
Okay, so that's a quick thing. We've forgot about the 20-minute rule to stop the time drift. So if this recording is of poor audio, that is because we enjoyed talking about transfers so much we did double the allotted time we're meant to. Oh, I'm good about that. I'm in for a long night now. But I will say this. We'll have to... I'm not speaking to you, Tom, because you're a naturally very calm person with priorities. But if you're like me and you're looking at Twitter refreshing, we have to remain calm because there is a meltdown every 5 minutes on Twitter because someone now says Mbeumo's now going to Man U. And we get into our whole... I know, right? And we get in this whole debate over who's a big club. And there's nothing I hate more than the debate over what matters in football over who's a larger club in stature.
Yeah.
That's like saying, look at us, we have more Korean fans than you. Who gives a fuck? We're aiming to be the best club with Eddie Howe, and whoever he picks is going to improve this team. We've got an awesome summer ahead, I reckon. You reckon, Tom?
Yeah. I mean, there'll be no meltdowns till at least July. And if we haven't got any players by then there'll be starting to be meltdowns.
Yeah, if we don't get anyone by the PSR deadline, all right, I'm very worried about how this audio is going to turn out now if I've done that. So please follow us on Twitter or TikTok. They're two of our better social media platforms. But we're also on YouTube if you want to send a link out. Thank you very much for listening, and we will be back again with more transfer rumours. And I think we're going to have to look up to what the school... But if we don't get signings in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, we might have to start we
just put this pod out again. Just rinse and repeat the transfers.
Put this podcast out again. Or if we're going to really start digging, go and talk to the school teachers of Gahey and Mbeumo. And those are the three. Who's the third one? Trafford, Gahey and Mbeumo. Once we get 3 strikes on those 3,
aye,
then I'm going to be upset. Which is amazing because if we got those 3 and just made the Champions League, I'd be buzzing. But
right, exactly. Transfer window opens next week, isn't it?
Nick, I'm not sure.
Or is it? I think it's next week. So she'll have 3 players.
Has Liverpool been dicks and bought 3 people? And there's always some clubs that just get everyone jumpy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's because this new World Cup club championship.
Yeah,
thing.
Real Madrid are paying 10 million for Trent Arnold-Alexander to be able to play in that, and they have games against Shanghai, Leipzig, Salzburg, and another team that the Real Madrid team should be able to fucking whop anyway.
Yeah.
But if you're Real Madrid, you can be like, in 3 years' time, don't sign a contract. See you then. I would love to be that team. All right. If you can follow us on all platforms, unless Tom, you got anything else in mind you want to talk about?
Nope, that's all from me.
Okay.
All done.
I hope you guys have a fun summer, and let's look forward to... Oh, I did hear, by the way, it would be great if it turned out it was Paul Mitchell's idea to change the badge, and we're not going to do that anymore. That would be mint. But
that would be good, but I doubt it.
Thank you very much for listening. Catch you again next week.
Bye-bye.
Oh, you won't see us next week. I'm going to Centre Parks. See you in a week's time.
See you later.
On a long train south to Southampton, the night was dark as coal. I met a lad named Tino on on his journey finding goals. He wore that youthful spark like a flame that lights the room. So I shared some wisdom softly from Blythe to the tomb. You gotta know when to tackle, know when to pass, know when to push up, know when to hold fast. You never count your footsteps when you're running down the line. There'll be time enough for glory when you cross the finish fine. I said, Tino, take this lesson from a kid who played it rough. In Blythe the pitch was muddy and the stands were barely stuffed. We fought for every moment, every shout and every roar. The beauty of this game is the sweat that makes it more. I told him of the hardships where the doubt begins to creep. Every header won in darkness, every wound that cuts you deep. But lads, you keep on running, no matter where it flows. This train ain't stopping ever to the tune it always goes. You gotta know when to tackle, know when to pass, know when to push up, know when to hold fast. You never count your footsteps when you're running down the line. There'll be time enough for glory when you cross the finish fine. And in the light of St. James, that's where I found my feet. From stands that roared in wonder to the echoes of defeat. But boy, it's all worth living, each tackle and each cheer, 'cause the heart of football's beating and it's loud for all to hear.